3,000 years of conquest. 847 worlds enslaved. And only one tiny planet remained free. A fragile blue-green marble at the edge of the galaxy. The last stand of humanity. The Zetherian Empire had never known defeat. Its fleets blotted out suns. Its armies reshaped entire civilizations in days. To resist the empire was to vanish. To defy them was to be erased from history. And now, they believed humanity would meet the same fate. Inside the colossal war room of the Imperial flagship, Emperor Vexthal stood tall. He was a creature of cold arrogance, draped in obsidian armor that reflected the light of countless star maps. Behind him stretched a wall of holographic projections, thousands of crimson dots, each marking a conquered world. 847 in total. A testament to millennia of dominance. Before him, advisors whispered. Admirals adjusted their uniforms with rigid pride. 50,000 Imperial warships hung in space, ready to descend upon Earth. Against them, Earth could muster only 200 fragile ships obsolete by Imperial standards. Primitive. Laughable. The Emperor's voice thundered through the chamber. This will be the easiest victory of our reign. One strike, and the humans will fall. The galaxy will finally belong to us, complete and eternal. His generals nodded in agreement. They have no defenses, said one. No allies, added another. The Empire's chief psychologist sneered. They will break the moment they see our fleet blot out their skies. The room echoed with confidence. The conquest of Earth seemed inevitable. And yet, a signal arrived. A single message, carried through channels the Empire almost ignored. The humans requested a meeting. Not surrender. Not negotiation for mercy. But a diplomatic audience. For a moment, silence fell in the war room. Then, mocking laughter spread among the Zetherian elite. These primitives think diplomacy will save them, scoffed an admiral. Perhaps they wish to beg, another smirked. The Emperor, amused, waved his hand. Very well. Let them come. It will be their final humiliation. Soon after, the Grand Council chamber of the Imperial flagship prepared to receive its guest. This chamber had witnessed the collapse of entire civilizations. Leaders of alien species had knelt here in chains, forced to surrender their cultures and freedoms. The walls themselves seemed to absorb centuries of defeat, heavy with the weight of broken empires. Into this chamber walked a single human. Ambassador Elena Vasquez. She wore no armor, carried no weapon. Her attire was simple but dignified, a dark suit that reflected neither arrogance nor fear. Her steps were steady, her posture unshaken. Most of all, her eyes held a calm confidence that unsettled the Imperials more than any weapon ever could. The Emperor studied her in silence. Here stood a representative of a species he considered primitive. And yet, she did not tremble. She did not bow. She looked at him as though she were his equal. The Emperor leaned forward on his throne, voice dripping with disdain. Humanity stands at the edge of annihilation. I will offer you terms, once. Refuse them, and your species will be extinguished. The chamber quieted as his demands echoed across the hall. First, you will immediately disarm all fleets. Second, you will dissolve your governments and submit to direct imperial rule. Third, 90% of your population will be relocated to labor colonies. Fourth, all resources of your planet will be harvested for the Empire. And finally, your culture will be adjusted. Your history rewritten to honor us. The generals smiled. The advisors nodded. This was the script that had played out countless times before. The Empire demanded. The weak surrendered. The galaxy bent the knee. But Elena did not falter. She listened quietly, hands folded in front of her. When the Emperor finished, she tilted her head slightly and spoke with deliberate calm. You have presented your terms. But I must ask you one question. Her voice carried not fear, but steady clarity. By what law does your empire claim the right to conquer us? The words struck like a blade across the chamber. The generals frowned, exchanging confused glances. The advisors whispered nervously. Even the Emperor paused, caught off guard. Then, laughter erupted. Law, the Emperor boomed. The strong rule the weak. That is the only law that has ever mattered. The chamber joined in cruel laughter. But Elena did not smile. She did not break. Instead, she reached into a small satchel at her side and placed a crystalline object on the table before her. It glowed faintly, etched with symbols none of the Zetherians expected to see. Her voice cut through the laughter like steel. Then it seems, Emperor, that you are about to discover just how wrong you are. The crystalline seal shimmered on the council table. Its glow was not bright, yet it seemed to cut through the chamber like a blade of light in endless shadow. Every Imperial eye locked onto it. Admirals stiffened. Generals leaned forward. The Emperor narrowed his gaze. Ambassador Elena Vasquez placed her hand on the crystal. Her voice was calm, but the weight of centuries carried in every syllable. Humanity is not alone. We are members of the Galactic Concordance of sentient species. And we have been, for 847 years. The words echoed through the chamber like thunder. For a moment, silence. Then an eruption of disbelief. Impossible, barked a general. The Concordance was destroyed millennia ago, sneered an admiral. The Emperor's voice rumbled like an earthquake. Do not insult us with fairy tales, human. We wiped them from existence. Elena's eyes didn't waver. You destroyed their fleets. You burned their cities. But you did not destroy their people. They survived. They adapted. They endured. She touched the crystal again, and the chamber's central holomap came alive. The galaxy appeared vast, majestic, terrible. Imperial space glowed crimson, a sea of red spreading across the stars. But then, green sparks appeared. At first, only a few. Then dozens. Then hundreds. Spreading like veins of light across the galaxy. Gasps filled the chamber. These, Elena said softly, are the survivors. The Altarians, scattered into 47 hidden colonies. The vegan collective, who uploaded their consciousness into quantum matrices hidden beyond your scanners. The Pro-Ion Federation, who disguised themselves as your laborers, your clerks, even your officers. The Ilari, who nested inside the very nebulae you mined. And countless others, watching, waiting. The crimson sea of the Empire's dominance was pierced on every side by emerald light. Worlds the Empire thought extinguished were glowing with life. Systems the Emperor believed silent pulsed with hidden resistance. The Emperor rose to his feet, fury twisting his face. Lies. Tricks. You dare fabricate maps in my chamber? Elena turned her gaze directly on him. These are not fabrications. They are records. For centuries, humanity has catalogued every surviving colony, every hidden fleet, every encrypted signal. We did so under the banner of the Concordance. Because when you struck them down, they invoked Article 847. She let the number hang in the air. The chamber froze. Article 847, she continued, declares. If any member species is attacked by an external power, the Concordance is bound to respond collectively and without restraint. That law has waited nearly 1,000 years. And today, it is invoked again. The imperial court erupted into chaos. Admirals shouted. Generals demanded verification. Holoscreens flickered with frantic reports from the fleet. Encrypted signals had begun to cascade across the galaxy. Systems long thought pacified were suddenly active with untraceable communications. The Empire's chief of intelligence stepped forward, pale. "Sire, we are detecting coordinated transmissions on frequencies we cannot jam. They are everywhere." The Emperor's fists clenched. Sabotage. But Elena was not finished. She raised her hand, and the map shifted again. Imperial supply routes appeared, glowing red lines connecting resource worlds to frontline fleets. Then, with a flick of her wrist, they shattered, snapped in half, dissolved into static. "Your empire," Elena said, "was never as strong as you believed. Your mines were run by Concordance descendants. Your shipyards sabotaged by infiltrators. Your logistics networks monitored from within. Even now, as we speak, your supply lines are collapsing. Your armies are stranded. Your fleets are blind." Admirals rushed to their consoles. Reports poured in. Fuel depots offline. Transport convoys missing. Entire garrisons surrounded by farmers and workers who were suddenly armed with weapons hidden for centuries. A general slammed his fist on the table. "This is impossible. We would have known." Elena turned toward him. "You knew. But you mistook silence for obedience. You mistook patience for weakness. You mistook survival for defeat." Her words struck harder than any weapon. The Emperor's face was red with fury, but behind his eyes something darker stirred. Doubt. The chamber's doors burst open. An officer stumbled in, breathless, clutching a datapad. "Sire, urgent news from the Helix sector. Our garrison has been overrun. The miners, they rose against us. Thousands of them. They weren't miners at all." Another officer rushed in behind him. "The Dravari shipyards, destroyed from within. Saboteurs infiltrated generations ago. The entire sector is dark." More reports came in rapid succession. Outposts collapsing. Colonies rising. Imperial fleets stranded as supply chains disintegrated. The chamber that had once echoed with confidence now trembled with panic. Through it all, Elena stood silently. She did not gloat. She did not shout. She simply waited, letting the truth crush the Empire under its own weight. At last, she spoke again, her voice soft but unshakable. "Emperor Vexthal, your reign was built on conquest without justice. You thought you ruled the galaxy. But in truth, the galaxy has been waiting. Watching. Preparing. And now, the wait is over." The council chamber shook with the weight of collapsing certainty. Admirals whispered to one another, their faces pale. Generals slammed fists against consoles, desperate for answers. But no answer could be found. Elena Vasquez held the crystalline seal high. Its glow filled the vast chamber, spilling across banners of conquered worlds. The same banners that now seemed hollow, meaningless, fragile. She spoke with deliberate calm. "Your Majesty, I hereby invoke Article 847 of the Galactic Concordance. Effective immediately, all member species are authorized to defend themselves. By any means necessary." The crystal pulsed once. Twice. On the third pulse, the galaxy itself seemed to awaken. Across the Emperor's throne room, holoscreens lit up in a storm of incoming reports. Fleets appearing from nebulae once thought barren. Armies rising from cities the Empire believed submissive. Shipyards long disguised as mines launching armadas. Communication networks hijacked by Concordance signals. An admiral's voice broke as he read the incoming data. "Sire, fleets are decloaking across the outer rim. Thousands of ships. Tens of thousands. They're everywhere." Another officer shouted. "Our garrisons are surrounded. The populations are armed. We never stood a chance." The Emperor slammed his clawed hand against his throne. "Lies. Tricks. We have 50,000 warships. We will crush them." But as the words left his mouth, a new holodisplay flickered to life. It showed the Sol system. Earth. Where the Empire had seen only 200 primitive ships. Now, tens of thousands shimmered into view. A vast fleet of human warships, each cloaked in technology invisible to Imperial sensors. Ships designed in secret, built in hidden yards, tested in silence for centuries. The chamber fell deathly silent. Even the generals who had roared with confidence minutes earlier now stared, paralyzed. Elena's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "You believed Earth was weak. You believed humanity had no power. But for 847 years, we have prepared for this day. While your empire conquered, we organized. While you enslaved, we documented. While you built monuments to fear, we built networks of cooperation. Your Majesty, patience has been our greatest weapon." The Emperor's four eyes blazed with fury, yet beneath the rage, fear crept in. Fear that everything she said was true. A general tried to rally. "We still have our soldiers. Millions under arms. They will hold." Elena turned toward him, her gaze unshaken. "Your soldiers are hungry, General. Their rations came from farms run by the Pro-Ion Federation. Those farms are no longer yours. Your armies are stranded, cut off from supplies, surrounded by populations they thought broken. The soldiers you call loyal are already laying down their weapons." As if on cue, another officer burst into the chamber. "Your Majesty! The garrisons at Kepler 442. Glysa 667C. Wolf 1061, all surrendered. They are outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Entire populations have risen against them." The Emperor gripped his throne so tightly that cracks formed beneath his claws. This was no war. This was an unraveling. An empire dissolving in real time. Reports continued to flood in. Supply depots offline. Financial systems locked by Concordance authority. Entire sectors declaring allegiance to the Arbitration Council. The mighty Zetherian war machine paralyzed, starved, crumbling. The Emperor's voice dropped to a whisper. "How long?" Elena tilted her head. "How long have we planned this?" 847 years, Your Majesty. Since the day Earth was accepted into the Concordance. Generations of humans devoted their lives to building what you see now. A galaxy united not by fear, but by justice. Her words were heavy, final. The emperor staggered to his feet. You speak of justice, but all I see is betrayal. Elena's eyes met his. No, your majesty. What you see is truth. For 3,000 years, you mistook silence for loyalty. But silence is not consent. It is preparation. And today, that preparation has ended. Around them, the holomap shifted again, showing the galaxy transformed. The sea of imperial red now riddled with green. Everywhere resistance rising, everywhere concordance awakening. The emperor's generals shouted for battle. His admirals demanded orders. But he said nothing. He saw the truth, his empire was gone. Not by force of arms, but by the weight of justice. Finally, his voice broke the silence. Stop. The chamber froze. The emperor sank back onto his throne, his shoulders heavy, his gaze distant. Stop the fighting. We surrender. The word echoed like thunder. An empire of 3,000 years, undone in a single moment. The chamber went silent until Elena spoke, her voice steady, formal, undeniable. On behalf of the Galactic Concordance of Sentient Species, I accept your surrender. The crystalline seal pulsed one last time, sending its message across the galaxy. The war that should have bathed the stars in fire, ended without a battle. The empire that thought itself eternal, ended with a single word. Elena stepped closer, her expression softening. Your Majesty, the Concordance seeks justice, not revenge. The Zetherian people will live. But they will live in a galaxy ruled by law, not fear. The emperor closed his eyes. And for the first time in his reign, he felt something unfamiliar. Relief. Because deep down, he knew Elena was right. Conquest without justice had never been true rule. It had only been piracy on the scale of stars. The holomap dimmed. The chamber fell quiet. And as the last signal of surrender echoed across the galaxy, one truth remained. Humanity's greatest weapon had not been warships or armies. It had been patience. The patience to wait 8 centuries. The patience to build a web of law and alliance strong enough to bring down an empire. The patience to prove that civilization is stronger than conquest. The Zetherian Empire had thought it ruled the galaxy. But the galaxy had been waiting all along.